Hey internet, so today is going to be a Contacts 101 video. It's my first ever request video, so we'll see how it goes. I hope everyone finds it interesting whether or not you're interested in contact lenses or not, but yeah, here goes. Firstly, a quick disclaimer. Whilst I know quite a lot about lenses because I've worn them for several years now, I am not an expert, and if you are ever in doubt about contact lenses, do see your opticians over my advice because they are the experts and it might be that there is something different about you that needs different advice, so always trust them over me. I'm kind of hoping this video will be useful for anyone who's considering lenses or has recently got lenses and just wants some general tips and advice from someone who sort of knows what they're talking about. I'm more confident than that, I promise, but like I said, I'm not the expert. So one of the first things you need to consider before you get lenses, or if you've just got lenses, is how dry your eyes are naturally. Now, I'm quite lucky. My eyes are just on the cusp of not being able to wear lenses, so I get away with it, but sometimes if I wear them too long, my eyes do start to get irritated. And I also find that at this time of year, particularly when I'm taking hay fever medication, my eyes are particularly dry. And when I'm ill, my eyes get very dry, so I tend to avoid wearing lenses during those times. The next most important thing to consider is dailies or monthlies. This is a big consideration because it depends on how often you think you're actually going to wear your lenses, and then that factors into the cost of the lenses and how much you can afford. Monthlies are typically cheaper, I know they are here in the UK anyway, which normally sways people. But for me personally, I have recently switched to dailies because I found I wasn't actually wearing my lenses that often, and as a monthly pair can only be worn for 30 days. Once the packet is opened, that's it, you've only got 30 days. I actually found it was cheaper to drop down to a smaller number of dailies per month than to have monthlies. There are of course benefits of contact lenses over glasses in the fact that you don't have to worry about damaging your glasses or losing them, but there are still some problems that you might experience and that you need to be aware of. Firstly is a common myth, and that is that you can lose your lenses around the back of your eye. Good news here, you cannot. I have been told specifically by my optician you cannot ever lose a lens. It can slide round to the side a little bit and it can obviously get stuck to the top of your lid, but that is it. It will never actually be lost. It is always possible to remove it. Sometimes it's not possible to remove it yourself. I know when I've managed this, I have generally rinsed my eye out to loosen it, gently move my lid to try and loosen it as well, and normally it falls out. If it doesn't, straight to the opticians, because if you leave it in there too long, it can really start to irritate your eye and also you run the risk of infection. Moving on from infection is the fact that you have to keep your lenses clean, especially if they're monthlies when you are wearing them for 30 days, potentially in a row, and taking them in and out. You have to be so careful because you don't want an eye infection. It's not a good thing, and you only have one pair of eyes in your entire life, so you've got to look after them. It is quite easy to clean your lenses. I will show you in a bit how I clean my lenses and hopefully that helps you, but essentially keeping them clean is the most important thing. There's a couple of things to remember for this, is that you're not supposed to wear them into a swimming pool because of the chlorine and the germs that are potentially in the water, and you're not really supposed to wear them into the shower because there are potentially microbes in water. I mean, if you're careful you can get away with it, but personally I would say just avoid it. And the last most important thing to remember is that you should always take your lenses out. Never sleep in your lenses if you can avoid it. If you ever accidentally sleep in your lenses, I've never managed to do it luckily, but I would suggest getting it out straight away, going to your opticians if you think it's irritated your eye in any way, and probably not wearing them for the next few days minimum, because yeah, essentially it can seriously irritate your eye, it can make it really red, and also it can potentially lead to infection. So never do it. Always take them out. So now I'm going to show you how I clean my lenses and how I take them in and out. That does however mean the squeamish part is coming up, so if you don't like people touching eyes, avert your eyes shortly. So whether you have monthlies or dailies, they will come in packets that look a little bit like this. The lens is in its own solution, so it should be nice and clean, but if you use monthlies, I tend to take it out of its packet and rinse it in some clean solution before I put it in my eye. And if I'm using dailies, I tend to take it out of its packet, make sure that it's facing the right way round, on my finger, and then I gently redip it back in the solution just to make sure that any fibres that were on my hands are not on the lens. As for storing your lens, there's two types of pots that you're likely to get. You'll either get one like this, where one lens goes in one side and one lens goes in the other, or you get one like this, and it's the same principle, just slightly different. They both work the same, neither are difficult to use, they just look different. Another important thing you'll need to be able to do is remember which lens is which, particularly if you have different prescriptions. I'm quite lucky, I do have different prescriptions, but one of my lenses is a toric lens because I have slight astigmatism in my right eye. Luckily, this means the packaging looks different and the lens is ever so slightly different in shape. Really comes in handy. If you've chosen monthlies, you'll need to make sure that your lenses are cleaned every time you take them out. This prevents a build-up of germs, which ensures that these don't transfer to your eye, which you're going to be wearing for several hours. If you wear dailies, this is less of an issue. You still have to be careful about showering and swimming, like I said, but specific cleaning doesn't have to be done because you put them in and then you take them out and throw them away and you never wear them again. So as long as they're clean before you put them in, you'll be fine. Always wash your hands before putting your lenses in or taking them out because you're touching your eye, and again you have to be careful of germs. For each new pair of monthly lenses, you want a brand new pot or one that has been sterilised. You can either do this in hot water or by using your cleaning solution to clean it out and then letting it fully air dry. So I'm just going to take my solution and fill up my pot. I tend to fill my pot about halfway up so that it's not too full and I don't end up with liquid spilling out, and so that the lens can sit in plenty of solution. Okay, so as I said, with my monthly lenses, I tend to take them out, rinse them in a little bit of solution and then put them in. Just prevents any fibres from being on the lens and make sure they're clean. Okay, so I've taken the lens out of the pot, and then I tend to balance it on my middle finger. I find this is the most helpful. And then I'm going to just rinse it in my solution that I've just poured. And then looking at the mirror, I'm going to hold the top lid with my other hand and my bottom lid with my ring finger. Place the lens onto my eyelid. I give it a few seconds to settle, and then I let my lid down gently. It's gonna look like I'm crying now because it tends to create a bit of moisture around your eye, but I'm not, it's fine, it's comfortable, there's nothing wrong with it. The only weird thing I get before I put my second lens in is that I have a slight cling film feeling across my eye, because this I can now see and this I can't, and it kind of confuses your brain for a second. I'm now going to put my second lens in. Because this is a toric lens, I have to be really careful because it tends to flip the wrong way quite easily. I'm going to rinse it out. Check it's the right way round. Normally you can tell if it's the right way round because there's an ever so slight lip that's not there if it's the correct way round. Otherwise it should sit as a nice little ellipse. So yeah, same again. And it's in. Easy as that. And now to take your lenses out and to clean them afterwards. So for taking them out, the optician recommended to me that I just slide it and it should just come out. This has never quite worked for me, so I tend to gently slide the lens, only ever touching the lens, not my eye. And then I tend to give it a slight pinch. Not too hard because you could end up pinching your eye, but just the lens, and it tends to then loosen it so it comes off your eye. Just like that. It's really quite simple once you get the technique, but it is difficult to start with. However, your optician should always go through with you taking your lenses in and out, and they should make sure that you're confident with it before they let you keep your lenses. So just so I can tell what's happening, I've put my glasses back on before I actually clean the lenses. You should always do it straight away. But yeah, so once I've got my lens out of my eye, what you have to do is make sure it's open on your finger, get some solution, pour a little bit into the lens, gently rub it to dislodge any germs or any proteins from your eyes, and then place it into the clean solution in your clean pot. You do this for both eyes, and then they can be stored until you wear them the next day. And essentially those are the main cleaning tips that you need to know. Always follow your optician's advice though. So I hope this video has helped you. I hope it's provided some tips and tricks for new contact lens wearers. If you have any further questions on things that I haven't covered, just drop me a comment down below. Let me know if it helped you. As always, like or subscribe if you haven't already. And I will post my previous video up here. See ya!